top of it. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, whatever time that this video was finding you in your part of the world. We're all familiar with the Kamala Harris Fox interview, and I'm sure that there are a lot of reaction videos and things like that. I'd like to take a different approach, and shout out to Enigma, which is the content creator here, which we're going to look at the body language of Kamachameleon's interview. And tell me what you think. Let's look at it a little bit deeper, because we know that the body communicates while the mouth is speaking words. So without further ado, let's get to it.
In this election, this is rightly a discussion that the American people want to have. And what they want are solutions, and they want a president of the United States who's not playing political games with the issue,
I hear you,
but actually is focused on
I hear you
fixing
too,
it.
Brett.
Democrats voted against that bill. It would have allowed 1.8 million illegal immigrants into the country a year. A lot of conservatives had a problem with it. These are the 6 Democrats. But more importantly, back to the original premise, Jocelyn Nungari, Rachel Morin, Laken Riley, they are young women who were brutally assaulted and killed by some of the men who were released at the beginning of the administration, well before a negotiated bipartisan bill. Former President Clinton actually referred to Laken Riley Sunday campaigning for you in Georgia, saying if those men had been properly vetted, Laken Riley probably would not have been killed.
She looked hurt in her eyes. This is the first interview where they stating facts.
So if it wouldn't have happened, this is well before any negotiation. This is well before Donald Trump got involved in the politics. This is a specific policy decision by your administration to release these men into the country. So what I'm saying to you, do you owe
Brett,
those families an apology?
She does what's called a distancing behavior here when confronted by the fact that her administration's policy led to the deaths of these innocent people. She diverts her attention away from the reporter in an attempt to reduce her physiological arousal. This is an extreme sign of discomfort.
Yeah, see, because I was feeling like she was denying it. No. That's not what happened. Yes, it is, bitch.
Let me just say, first of all, those are tragic cases. There's no question about that. There is no question about that. And I can't imagine the pain that the families of those victims have experienced.
You wouldn't have to if you talked to them.
For a loss that should not have occurred. So
It shouldn't have occurred.
that is true. It is also true that if a border security had actually been passed 9 months ago, it would be 9 months.
Bitch, that happened before 9 months ago. Do you see how they gaslight the American people? What you thought you saw, you didn't see. What you thought you heard with your own ears, you didn't hear. The fuck?
That we would have had more border agents at the border, more support for the folks who are working around the clock trying to hold it all together.
Madam Vice President.
To ensure that no future harm would occur. And this election in 20 days.
She just talks. No substance. Nothing to the point of what's asked. She just fills up the air and the time with a bunch of words. That's what's frustrating.
Will determine whether we have a president of the United States who actually cares more about fixing a problem, even if it is not to their political advantage.
Right, bitch. The economy. Inflation. You trying to take our gas ovens. The fuck? You done fucked up the English language. We want to call a single person, a singular person, a plural. What the fuck? A singular person is now referred to as they refer to themselves as they and them. By the way, why isn't she presenting herself the way that they didn't wanted to flip around the English language? How come she's not saying, hello, I'm Kamala Harris, my pronouns are? How come the bitch ain't doing that? Because she knows she'd lose votes.
Advantage in an election, because there was a solution, Brett.
When it comes to immigration, you supported allowing immigrants in the country illegally to apply for driver's license, to qualify for free tuition at universities, to be enrolled in free health care. Do you still support those things?
Listen, that was 5 years ago.
She then does another very obvious distancing behavior and also exhibits the Glober sensation when confronted on the fact that she supported illegal immigrants getting driver's licenses and applications for free university places. She diverts her eyes to the floor, which is another way our brain distances. She also shows signs of the Glober sensation, which is a result of the muscle tension around the throat, causing her to have an increased urge to swallow. This is also known as a lump in the throat and shows that she's extremely stressed.
And I'm very clear that I will follow the law. I have made that statement over and over again, and as Vice President of the
But you'll be changing the laws, bitch.
United States, that's exactly what I've done, not to mention before.
If that's the case, you chose a running mate, Tim Walz, governor of Minnesota, who signed those very things into state law. So do you support that?
We are very clear, and I'm
Let's
very
take that back. That reaction was
To state law.
Watch your face. Watch
So
your
do you
face.
support that?
We are very clear, and I am very clear, as is Tim Walz.
That seemed like that even stunned the people in her earpiece. So she's like, we are, and then they had some more shit to say. They finally got into a flow. But that look is priceless.
So do you support that?
We are very clear, and I am very clear, as is Tim Walz, that we must support and enforce federal law, and that is exactly what we will do.
But that's not what Tim Walz did.
Presidency will not be a continuation of Joe Biden's.
See, that's my issue. They want us to overlook what they're doing, what they're currently doing, for some promises of what they're going to do in the future. Well, here's a little tip my grandmama taught me. The best indication of how someone will act in the future is their actions in the past, let alone the present. The fuck?
Presidency. And like every new president that comes in to office, I will bring my life experiences, my professional experiences, and fresh and new ideas. I represent a new generation of leadership. For example...
Puppets. I represent the new generation of leaders that are puppets. No. Don't care about Geppetto. No. Look at me, the new puppet, bitch.
I'm someone who has not spent the majority of my career in Washington, D.C.
Your campaign slogan is a new way forward, and it's time to turn the page. You've been vice president for 3.5 years.
Thank you.
What are you turning the page from?
Thank you.
Well, first of all, turning the page from the last decade in which we've been burdened with the kind of rhetoric coming from Donald Trump that has been
Donald Trump was almost 8 years ago, bitch.
Designed and implemented to divide our country and have Americans literally point fingers.
Who's more divisive than the Democratic Party? And I'm of the opinion that left wing, right wing is still the same damn bird. But come on. It appears that the Democrats love to project. They're the ones who's like, I'm different. I'm gay. I'm this group. I'm that group. I'm a purple penguin. And you're the one stoking the fires of everyone pointing fingers at each other versus coming together as Americans.
Fingers at each other. Rhetoric and an approach to leadership that suggests that the strength of a leader is based on who you beat down instead of what we all know. The strength of leadership is based on who you lift up. The strength of an American president, which is one who understands that the vast majority of us have more in common than what separates us.
If it's on the wrong track, that track follows 3.5 years of you being vice president and President Biden being president. That is what they're saying, 79% of them. Why are they saying that? If you're turning the page, you've been in office for 3.5 years.
Thank you. We got to get a slow clap for that. God damn.
And Donald Trump has been running for office.
I'm sorry, let's take it back so we can have... so that we can have the full comedic flow.
9% of them. Why are they saying that? If you're turning the page, you've been in office for 3.5 years.
And Donald Trump has been running for office.
But you've been the person holding the
Come
office.
on.
Thank
When
you.
confronted on the fact that she's been in office for nearly 4 years and that the Democrats have been in power for the majority of the past decade, we see her do what's called a smile mask. She does this as a way to conceal her true
A
emotions
smile mask.
by presenting a more socially acceptable outward demeanor. The reporter makes a solid argument and she knows that she can't counter it. This
But also that reaction, let's take it back to her reaction, right? That reaction reminds me of when Les Moonves, or Moons, or however the hell you say his name, when he was interviewing her and then grilling her on the border when she said, I've been to the border. He said, you haven't been to the border. And then she did the same pause, and I haven't been to Europe. Bitch, what's that got to do with the price of tea in China? But let's watch her reaction again.
Of them. Why are they saying that? If you're turning the page, you've been in office for 3.5 years.
And Donald Trump has been
And
running
I also
for
haven't been to
office.
Europe.
But you've been the person holding the office.
When confronted on the fact that she's been in office for nearly 4 years and that the Democrats have been in power for the majority of the past decade, we see her do what's called a smile mask. She does this as a way to conceal her true emotions by presenting a more socially acceptable outward demeanor. The reporter makes a solid argument and she knows that she can't counter it. This creates a strong feeling of stress, and she masks this stress by smiling. She goes from displaying elevated muscle tension with her brow to smiling, which is totally out of place. This is not natural behavior, and she does this frequently, and I think it just creates a sense of
This is not natural behavior.
untrustworthiness.
Madam
You
Vice
and I
President.
both know what I'm talking about. You and I both know what I'm talking about.
I actually don't. What are you talking about?
Thank you. Nobody knows what the fuck you talking about, bitch. Nobody.
What I'm talking about is that over the last decade,
But you're
people
the
have
lever of
become.
power.
But listen, over the last decade, it is clear to me, and certainly the Republicans who are on stage with me, the former chief of staff to the president, Donald Trump, former defense.
Okay, enough of that. You guys make sure that you go to Enigma and like, share, subscribe to his channel, because this is an excellent look into people beyond what they're saying, because the body does communicate, right? So it's more than just listening to what somebody said. But hey, this is another short and sweet one. Like, share, subscribe. Let's have a discussion down in the bottom, the comments, whatever. Like the video. That also gets it up in the algorithm, right? Subscribe, like I said. Hey, y'all, it's the 13th one. The Laughing Buddha. One of them ones. Often imitated, never duplicated, but most loved and respected. Marquez the greatest. Hey, take care of your teeth, take care of your feet, and take care of your heart. May you never want for what you need, and may you never need what you want. We out.